Boss, it's just as we suspected. The forces of Ieyasu and Mitsunari both seek to form pacts with us.
What a surprise. I suppose we should take advantage of the opportunities presented to us. Let us now proceed down one of these paths and choose our fate to the toll of the blazing bell.
Right!
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Let's Play Basara 3! Alright, Magoichi has had her fun, but it's time to get serious and make an important decision that's going to impact our path for the Saika faction. So, we now have to make a decision. Who are we going to side with? Ieyasu or Mitsunari? East or West? This is interesting because I actually get to show off their respective stages, their home territories, which is an area we never got to see per faction in the previous campaigns that I've done. But we still have two more to go after this, so hopefully we'll still be able to show off both of them. But for this route, I'm going to be going for Mitsunari, which means I'm going to be fighting him so that I can inevitably side with him, which is typically how that goes for Magoichi. They challenge her, and she's like, I don't really care for you, or in Ieyasu's case, as we saw with the previous two campaigns, she was like, alright, you seem convincing enough. So, in this instance, I'm going to be going for Mitsunari. So, this is not my preference in terms of the narrative, but because I can sculpt the narrative into whatever I want to, I'm going to essentially go with the opposite of what I did during my test runs. So we're going to be challenging Mitsunari so we can fight alongside him. So the reason why I don't prefer this in terms of the narrative is just because Mitsunari does not really utilize his allies like he could. He's not a he's very straightforward and blunt. He's not somebody like Takanaka Hanbei, or even even more like Ieyasu, who is, you know, a little bit more manipulative and persuasive, and would use their charisma to try to convince their allies that what they're doing is a good idea. Mitsunari just sort of tells them, "You're useless to me. I don't need you at all. I just want to crush Ieyasu," and like that's pretty much all he does. And so he's like, "You're going to listen to me. You're going to obey my orders, so I'm going to kill you like everyone else." And so as a result, Magoichi really doesn't get very good interactions in terms of the story on his side. So, not that I necessarily feel like her allying with the Eastern Army is canon, per se. I definitely would prefer her to just be neutral and pick sides as she deems necessary, as she sees fit, depending on the situation. And in Basara Judge End, she does exactly that, where she pretty much just gets involved because she has to for her own survival. I don't think she really has offered a concrete contract with either side. We've got one of the money mallets going on right here, so we're going to be collecting a ton of money from that. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to get the machine gun weapon for her until the end of this mission, so we won't be able to show that off, which is really a shame, because I want to make sure the gameplay that you're seeing is as varied as possible. And I'm definitely, at this point, I've worn the rust off, so to speak, so I'm a bit more competent with her than I was, say, in the first video. It is difficult to go from, you know, characters that play as radically different as Ieyasu and Mitsunari, even from each other, to then go to Magoichi, who plays differently from every other character in Basara. But I love how Magoichi plays so much that I'm definitely going to try to optimize with her. Now, my loyal viewer who's been following the series, and I shout out to you, Xenojin Hayabusa, I really appreciate you watching and commenting. He said you can apparently rapid fire Magoichi's pistols somehow, and there's also a move where if you hold down R1 when you toss out her grenades, you can roll the grenades and have them take a little bit longer to explode, which can be incredibly useful because, as I said before, the timing and the amount of space you have between you and your enemy is very particular when it comes to using the grenades, because you may or may not actually get to that you may not actually land a hit with them unless you're careful. So We just fought the Death Carriage there. I know I act like that's nothing, but that's the weapon that we saw Mitsunari employ against us at Sekigahara, but now we get to fight it here on his home territory. That was also a great demonstration of Magoichi's dodge, being able to just kind of sidestep away from those bolts of lightning coming down at us. There we go, that's a pretty decent use of the grenades there. But yeah, the machine gun is definitely going to make things varied quite a bit. Not to mention the rocket launcher, which is her super art that she gets with R2. That's going to make things very interesting, and you'll see me try to mix up her various different weapons and just kind of keep a continuous combo going as best as possible. That was really cool. I managed to group all those guys together. Again, having a character that uses firearms does kind of inherently give us an advantage against characters that don't. I mean, obviously that would make sense. Of course, you know, video game logic, especially considering Basara was created by one of the original directors of Devil May Cry. You would think that guns would be inferior to swords, and they are, I guess, in some contexts. But it's more so just taking advantage of the enemy's AI and being able to hit them from a distance when they can't close that gap to be able to properly hit you. So, Happy New Year, guys. I don't know if I've had a chance to say that yet. I think I've uploaded another Basara video since the year began. No, maybe not. I don't know. So as far as other things go, I think I may have lost some of my footage for Berserk and the Band of the Hawk, so I may need to go back and record that. But thankfully it was just like the very, very first 2 missions, so it wouldn't be a big deal if I had to re-record that. I wanted to get some feedback for you guys, if you guys wanted to, for those of you that care, if you wanted to see Berserk and the Band of the Hawk as a live-streamed Let's Play, because that would definitely cut down significantly on how frequently I can upload. Man, these spearmen over here were like right about to cut my head off, but I stepped right between their spears. That was pretty cool. Yeah, if you'd like to see me record Berserk and the Band of the Hawk live, the only downside about that is, much like Basara, I'm in love with the story and the anime and things like that, and being able to talk about, you know, the Berserk manga and anime and touch on all the nuances of the story is going to be really important to that Let's Play. So having post commentary where I can sit there and actually look up what's happening in the story and make sure I can adequately touch on that stuff from a lore perspective is important. So I don't want to be standing there like like trying to think of how that ties into the story, and I don't want to give any misinformation, because I'm sure the Berserk fan base would be like, well, hang on, that's not how it happened at all. Or you're totally misrepresenting these characters.
Is it because things did not go as you
So as far as the objective goes for this map, we had to capture those command points around that center arena area there, which was pretty easy. It's like the Hideaki Kobayakawa stage, but on a smaller scale.
You feel it coming, don't you? I can feel it in my bones. Please, join me as it rains down upon us. We shall see who is the first to be... Do not dare...
Oh, Yoshitsugu. I honestly at this point feel sorry for him fighting him. And it's not because he's weak, because he's very strong and very difficult to fight. And his ranged attacks are definitely very dangerous. He throws those spheres at us from a massive, massive distance. And they can be dodged pretty easily. You saw me do some skilled dodging to get out of their way as Ieyasu. And of course, as Magoichi, we'll just be able to hit him at range with guns, which is pretty unfair, but yeah, it's unfortunate to see Yoshitsugu knowing just how much he's suffering and how much he cares about Mitsunari. And honestly, I think watching the last party again messed me up, because I saw just how much Mitsunari and Yoshitsugu care for each other, even if they both have black hearts and they seemingly are immune to sympathy. Alright, he's going to use his Basara attack here, which, as you can see, is incredibly dangerous. Oh dear God.
Let us trust the fates.
So he killed my ally and almost killed me there. I was trying desperately to dodge backwards to get out of the way of that, but it just kept pulling me back in with those spheres that would come up from behind. So I almost, if it wasn't for the fact that my Basara gauge filled up, I would have probably lost that there. But luckily he just has one more shot to take him out. Come on, come on, stop blocking! Stop blocking and let me shoot you! There we go. Take a little breath there after that view of Magoichi's side boob. Alright, let's get our... On your feet, soldier!
Is that your foolish wish?
I didn't order you to rest.
Leave the rest to me.
Yeah, Yoshitsugu has now been defeated. I don't think that was terribly difficult, but he can be pretty dangerous. Oh, and I kind of glanced over this, but I don't know if I really emphasized it thoroughly enough, but you are basically, choosing your own route when it comes to Magoichi, so depending on, who you side with, whether it be Ieyasu or Mitsunari, you're pretty much changing the outcome of the story permanently.
Allowing me to purge the traitors from these lands.
I beg of you.
Grant me permission.
How the hell does that work?
Foul men.
Lord Hideyoshi.
It is in your name I fight. Until the end. Your betrayal of Lord Hideyoshi lives in him.
Alright, so Mitsunari has an upgraded sword, as you can see. It's a really, really bizarre shape, like some kind of weird cleaver thing, and I'm sure it's probably not scientific. It looks like it only has like a one-handed hilt, and the shape of the blade is pretty weird. I don't know that that would actually work, which is odd considering that Mitsunari normally has a pretty sensible sword design with just his regular katana. A beautiful katana at that. If you guys have ever seen the up-close details of how it's designed, man, it's gorgeous. I would love to be able to replicate that and build that. But honestly, I had a hell of a time just making Kojiro's katanas, and I frankly kind of sucked at that. I mean, they look passable for the cosplay, but they don't look, I would say, good. I could probably make them better now. But there was a really cool technique I used with cutting open a PVC pipe and flattening it with extreme heat to get that curved shape for a katana blade. It actually worked out really well. Anyway, Mitsunari, again, Mitsunari is definitely a bad matchup against Magoichi because of how fast he is. But she is actually a lot tankier than he is. She has a lot more health and defense, and he's kind of, in spite of being incredibly fast and dealing in crazy amounts of DPS, his low health is going to be his undoing here. So, yeah, that's it.
Could he cause trouble for us down the road?
He has to make sure to resheath his sword before he falls.
So than anyone else we could ally ourselves with.
Maybe some paracord would come in handy. Mitsunari, just tie your sword to your sheath so you don't have to swing it around one-handed like that. You edgelord.
We are the Saika faction! The red bell rings! The pact we have made shall be known to all! Let it toll! Let the bell call out across the land!
Now that we've formed a pact, forget thoughts of betrayal. Towards me or Lord Hideyoshi. As members of the Toyotomi, you belong to him.
We're our own masters. We have always been. We shall not acknowledge any other.
Then why did you form a pact with the Toyotomi?
Which side we chose did not really matter. Only being shown due respect. Even you, the Dark King as you are called, are no exception.
Once I've slain Ieyasu, you're next. I will see to the annihilation of the Saika faction.
Do not presume to think we can be intimidated. We find such threats to be comical.